Good morning, Cougar Nation. I am going to talk about AMI Day 14 for 8th grade math. First thing I want you to take note of is the directions where it tells us we're going to use 3.14 for pi, that R stands for radius, H stands for height, and of course radius is always half the diameter. So for example, if the diameter is 12, the radius is 6. Essentially, this problem is comparing the volume of two different shapes. One is a cone and one is a cylinder, and we're trying to decide which one has the better cost, or the better rate. So after you figure the volume, you are going to take the cost and divide it by the volume and see which one has the lower cost, that being the better bargain for you when you buy your popcorn. So I found this practice problem to show you how to compare volumes. In this case, we've got a 5-inch deep ice cream cone that has a radius of 1 inch, and then we've got one scoop of ice cream that also has a radius of 1 inch. And so we're going to see if the ice cream were to melt, will it overflow? In other words, which one has the greater volume? So I like this example of volume of a sphere, because what I want you to see is you can either do 4/3 as a fraction, or you can do 4 pi r cubed first and then divide it by 3, for some of us that don't know how to put fractions in a calculator very well. So for this example, our radius is a very easy 1, and so let's see what we get. So I'm going to do 4 times 3.14, that's the approximation for pi, times 1 cubed. Of course, 1 cubed is 1 times 1 times 1, which is just 1. And then I'm going to divide that by 3, and I'm going to get a volume of approximately 4.19 cubic inches. So now let's go back and let's look at the cone. And I'm going to type this in here so I don't forget. Volume of the sphere was 4.19. So the volume of the cone, again, in this case, pi r squared times the height divided by 3. Realize that this is the same thing as if we did 1/3 pi r squared times h, or times the height. So let's go back up. We're going to put in 1 for the radius of the cone. Remember, the radius goes from the center to the edge, and then the height is 5. And so when I square 1 squared is simply going to be 1. So let's look and see what we get for this. 3.14 times 1 squared, which is just 1, times the height, which is 5. Take that answer and divide it by 3. And so the volume of the cone is 5.23. So as you can see, the cone has a bigger volume than the sphere of the ice cream. So if it were to melt, it would in fact not overflow. It would be able to hold the volume of the ice cream. So again, that's just a way to show you how to find volume of different shapes using formulas, and then how to compare. Hope this helps, Cougs. Email or get on a Zoom tomorrow if you need extra